Hi everyone, Lupe Voss here. I'm going to share with you some little quick tips on tipping. We are working in a 7 section. This is 7 section is great for anyone who has hair longer than their chin. And the reason why, this is how hair falls naturally. So let me show you. We have 4 sections in the front. We have 2 on either side, 2 in the mohawk working off the natural part. And in the back, what we have is we have a triangle which actually falls over and veils over the whole of the back, and then 2 sections in the back, and this would equal up your 7. We're going to start here in the very front. Let's turn her around. Tipping. Tipping is a backcombing technique. There's a lot of challenges that happen with this backcombing technique. One would be over backcombing, and then you're in the shampoo bowl trying to comb it out. That can be an issue, and it takes a lot of time, uncomfortable for your guest, and ain't nobody got time for that. The second thing is we can actually sometimes see lines in the hair, and it could be not having a really nice dismount of color, or it could be that maybe we're standing in the wrong position and we're backcombing the hair in the wrong position. For example, if our guest client has a face frame that's cut around her face, then we actually should be coloring or tipping that hair with that in mind. If they have a horizontal line and we tip, the color melt is going to mirror what the haircut is doing. If it's at a diagonal, our tip should be at a diagonal. That means that we should walk until that hair goes horizontal in our fingers as if we're cutting it, and then back comb from there, which I'll demonstrate for you. Another tip would be is to work in diagonals. Diagonals always lay in a beautiful, beautiful veil. So let's take this front piece and let's do it. And I'll walk you through those key points and then have you practice. Let's take our first diagonal. So I normally use my finger because I feel like working organically, if you look at how everyone is wearing their hair right now, they're putting natural texture. They're actually putting their hair up in knots, letting that turn into a wave and dropping it down. So that's how I really am picturing this happening. So with my finger, I'm going to take a strong weave effect, which is 3 pieces, weave out 3 strong pieces. What we'll do is I'll make sure that her head is straight up because I want to read her haircut. I want to make sure that we're on the same page. If you look at her hair, it's at a diagonal. Look at my fingers. So what I need to do is keep pushing and walking until now that goes horizontal. So that's telling me I need to stand here and then back comb once, so that when you see this fall and you have your diagonal line, this is mirroring what this haircut is telling you what to do. That is why we have to make sure that before we are going to back comb, that we look at that haircut, make sure it's horizontal, and then we're going to put our pintail comb in and back comb up. Second tip, you cannot stand here and put your back comb here, starting from here all the way, because you're going to get rid of all of this hair. And then this is the only hair that's going to get highlighted. If you actually want to see it, you need to start putting your pintail right where you want to see the highlight start, just like hair painting. If you want your highlight to start here with hair painting, you're going to put your product here and then blend up. That's what we're going to do. I'm going to look at her face. I like her cheekbones. I'm going to make sure that my highlight starts here so I can bring out her cheekbone. This is your second tip. You can rough it up just so that you can have something to back home. So rough it up, just and you're good. Then what you're going to do is place your pintail comb in, and then you're only going to push up 1 inch past where you want to see that highlight start. So here's where I want my highlight. I moved it 1 inch past, and what I'm going to do here is blend out. I'm using a clear base with 5 volume, and I did add a little bit of pure tone to make sure that you could see where my blending area is. So here is my enlightener, and if you look what I did with my fold over, that's 1 inch. So that's going to help you know that that's 1 inch, this little lip in my foil. So I'll take my enlightener and I'll put it on the ends that I know that I want to have light. Make sure I roll it back and forth. Make sure my saturation is great. What you want to do when you're doing this, actually apply your product with your brush horizontally on the hair. Take your brush vertical and then just real lightly roll that hair back and forth to make sure you have all of this saturated properly. Okay, so roll, roll. Pick up a little bit of product and then just keep rolling to make sure if you feel good that this looks really nice and saturated, then you're ready to start blending. If you notice the color, the opacity of this bleach is all the same, so I know it's gonna lift nice and even. So then what I'll do is I've got Universal Zero In with violet blue, and I'll push this up and off out of my way. So what I did is I pushed that back combing up. I'm going to pick up a little bit more of the Universal Zero In, and I'm lightly pulling this enlightener up into that blend section. Put my brush vertical again and roll this back and forth. The ticket is whatever you're using to soften up this line in your blend area, you have to use a lot of it, because what it's going to do, it's going to do two things. It's diluting the bleach that you're pulling up, so you're getting a really soft dismount, and it's also going inside on the other side and it's softening up. That's why I'm making sure that I'm pulling this. See how much I'm using? It's a lot. It is a lot, and I'm making sure that it is really diluting it. So it's doing the top side, you push it in, work it back and forth, it's doing the other side, because you can soften up the line on the top, but if you don't soften up the line on the back, when you curl it, you're going to see it. Ask me how I know. So now I'll pull this down, I'll sandwich my foil, fold this up, work nice, neat, and clean. If you want it to hang on, just put a slight edge on that, and that locks that foil in. Okay, this foil is done, and now we're ready for our next, and you're just going to keep working all the way through. So this is a great way of creating really soft blended out color. One of the key tips is going diagonally while you're working. Second key tip is look at what the haircut's doing and walk and pull it horizontal. Once you're there, then you know you can back home. Look at where you want your highlight to start, because that's where you're going to back home. So you'll put your rough up where you want your highlight to start, drop your pintail comb in, and you're only allowed to push up 1 inch. If you push up past 1 inch and you have a longer blend out section, you're going to have a very strong gold band, which is what you don't want. So that just moving up 1 inch is going to give you a soft transition of blend. So then once you're done with your back comb, put your foil, give it a 1 inch lip. That way you know when you're putting your hair on, you'll paint right up to there, and that this is your blend section. That will help you stay consistent in your work. Put your product on. Do your blend product, roll it back and forth. Make sure you push down to behind that slice so that you can get the soften up the line that's behind it as well as on top. Sandwich your foils, fold them up, nice, neat, and clean, and then keep working. That's how you do a really pretty tip, and you will get a beautiful soft blend. Have fun.